If you've ever played Overwatch before, you've probably run into the infamous issue of counter-swapping. 1 minute you're stomping on ball, and then you press tab, only to see the Avengers. But what would happen if you stopped listening to all the Overwatch gurus that tell you to stick to one hero no matter what?
What are you doing?
Instead of limiting yourself to one hero, what if you played all of them? Taking a bit of inspiration from mystery heroes and some Overwatch challenges, we can set up a wheel that'll randomly select a character on every death, taking away the laborious task of thinking about how to min-max your counter swaps. And what better way to test out this foolproof theory than hopping into ranked on the one role where counter swaps will ruin your life: tank. So game 1 starts just about how you'd expect it, as Junker Queen versus Doomfist. He punches in, gets counter punched by the Brig, gets it powered, and just punches in and gets a kill. That's just the Doomfist experience. Here I try to actually pressure their team, make some space, cut them off, and it works for a bit, but then their Hanzo decides to get a couple of headshots, which is not ideal. And then I just kind of chill, just do nothing. Play around point, try to pressure the Doom, and it does work until I kill him. And then I find this lonely Ana over here, ready to die. She just has a death wish, but I just completely miss everything, mess up my mechanics. And here, the Doomfist's already back. I have to get out, but he cancels my axe, and I'm in a terrible spot here, of course. I get naded, punched, CC'd, everything. When I respawn, I kind of forget to use the wheel and I'm stuck with Junker Queen. But that's okay because I have an ult coming up here and it's gonna be huge shortly. This looks insanely good, so I go for it just to get naded. That would be some crazy healing if I didn't get naded, but my supports got me here. I load up the wheel. The next fight comes in, they open with the Hanzer Dragon and it's not too bad, other than the fact that my Cassidy stands right in the middle of it. And eventually my other DPS falls too. My supports get zoned by the Doom, and then there's just nothing I can do. I go for a desperation ult here. My Brig's still alive somehow. We get 1, we get 2, she even gets a kill there, but it's not enough. And so it's time to go back to the wheel, and I get Zarya. Zarya's banned. I get Domina. Swapping for Sigma, this is going to be a pretty similar gameplay pattern. I'll just be looking for these long-range pokes, zoning their team, and eventually the Doomfist decides to swap to a Mauga, which actually shouldn't be too bad. Pressuring him is easy and he's just hinting, just like my Cassidy, which helps. Their Mauga decides to int, and this is just a free ult, so I go for it. The Mauga doesn't die because he backs up, but the Kiriko did TP in, so she will meet a swift demise. The Mauga just keeps charging in, like I just don't get it. Here I have a really strong position, granted I get enough support. Mauga comes in again, but this time he's able to wrap around cover, extend his life a bit. The Kiriko TP Suzu's, and I really should be punishing that, but for some reason I look at the Mauga and Life Weaver here. Fortunately the Mauga is an inter, so we just get that kill without much trouble, though the Kiriko does get to live for free. Here the Mauga just hints. He does have ult, but we just win the ult war. I was able to split his backline other than Kiriko, who TP's in with my right click, and after that it's just a free fight win. Round 2 starts with me on Ramatra, and instead of going to high ground to contest it, I decided to just walk up main. And this actually does work fairly well. I'm able to pressure them from here, split attention, and I have like 3 or 4 people looking at me here, and I'm just able to chill until eventually I just get sandwiched and Roadhog moment. I go back to the old wheel just to get Ramatra again, so I guess we'll be sticking with this character. Again, just rolling out of spawn here, getting hooked there is fine, it's wonderful actually. I'm able to vortex him, forcing the Suzu and Lamp. I walk up here, shield his hook, and this is just a pretty okay position to be in. In hindsight, maybe I should have walked up here a bit more, but it's fine, it's chill. I'm pressuring the BAP here. Actually, I'm just killing him because his positioning is horrendous. I swap my focus to Kiriko from Roadhog, get the kill, and eventually Roadhog falls too. And with that, that's the point secured. The situation's looking a bit dire with most of my teammates dead, but I get the nano boost here, and I just walk up. There's not much more I can do. My teammates are doing good as I zone these guys off. I actually thought Roadhog was next to point. Turns out he's here near spawn, interestingly. So we get the point, and it's looking like a free win here. We just push, use ult well, and it's just chill. Here I should have pushed up, but for sure I think. I didn't think Bastion's gonna be that. I decided to kite the Baptiste ult. I use my Vortex while Roadhog ults, and we have to disengage. One of my teammates is pretty deep, probably gonna die. This is just way too early from my Ana here, but I'm forced to go in anyway because of that Roadhog. I get exploded, and it's time to go back to the old wheel. And I get Roadhog, which means I'll have to just diff this guy to get that victory. And I get diffed as soon as I come out of spawn. Back to the wheel. Okay, we got Hazard. Hazard should be fine. Hazard's a completely broken character. If you've ever seen a Super TF stream, he is a terrorist. His words, not mine. Hazard's just so strong. He has so many tools. So it shouldn't be too bad, as long as none of my teammates int. And for some reason, my Ana's in their backline. My Brig goes in, dies. My Ana dies shortly after, and my soldier's able to get a pick here, but then he just decides to int. I guess it wasn't really an int. He was dead either way. I die right after that, which means back to the wheel. Zarya's banned. We're back to Drunker Queen. I have a good feeling about this. We started the game off with Drunker Queen. Might as well finish it with Drunker Queen. I have to push forward because of the Baptiste ult, because otherwise I just get exploded, and for some reason my team just dies somehow. Like, we're doing well here. They could have just chilled a bit, just consolidated. I get the axe on the Bastion. Everything's cheery, and right before I get ult, I die, which means we're going back to the wheel. D.Va's banned as well. They're back to the wheel again. We get Hazard again, and we have 30 seconds and perhaps one fight left to prove ourselves. I get hooked and exploded. And to end it off, I get Doomfist. I roll out with a punch, slam in, try to touch point, and you can already see what's gonna happen here. You don't even have to look at it. I get hooked, exploded, insta-dead. And so a game that was almost won. I had Drunker Queen out there, and I get called out in chat by my own teammate. You know what? Serious, you are completely correct. I had ult there, and I had to swap. And so, I think the moral of the story here is that you can try to swap every time you get countered. You can try every character. You can play mystery heroes. And to some extent, it does help you learn your matchups better. You get to understand what the person on the other team playing the character you're facing is actually thinking. But at the end of the day, what actually matters is how well you're able to play. And to maximize how well you're able to play, it's ideal to just stick to one character. If you know how to min-max every single ability you have, eventually, it just doesn't matter if you're getting countered, because you will just be able to skill check the other team. And so with all that said and done, to counter Counterwatch, you don't have to give in to counter swapping constantly, setting up a wheel of fortune, and changing characters on every death. All you have to do is stick to one character and just get good.